cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection, and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, dude here. Coming out again, another iteration of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, being a fat, and I do PHAT, fat news week. And I mean, it is just so beyond the measure of just sound guy. No, it's not sound guy. No, it is fat. I don't even know where to go to with that one, but yeah, it's extremely a fat. I'm still trying to unpack what he's trying to talk about there. Knife stab, laser blast, caca. Okay, I got it. He's trying to say it's been really a interesting amount of okay. So basically, like almost like blowing up the Death Star kind of a thing. Okay, all right. Now he's saying essentially that there should be some medical care because somebody might be, well, a little bit sick.
Fatality.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say one way or the other how that one's going in the current resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but yeah, let's just say things were probably not doing so good for like the last appearance where he was with Donald Trump. Yeah, that was just yeah, it was bad. Bad. Sound guy, what are you doing? He gets in a groove. What are you doing, man? Anyway, it was pretty much a it was bad, folks. Really bad. And I think possibly the only thing that could have fixed it was sound guy. No, I don't think that would have fixed it. Okay. Okay, he's trying to accentuate it really was a major train wreck. Patriot reporting made the checking of Patriot Senior says he's going to make a DIY submarine with a hurricane coming down on him. Okay, yeah, that might not be a good thing. Let's see. Scrolly. I get a little bit of an oddball here. Give me 1 second here. I got to close my front door. My cat's being annoying. It's a case of, if you have indoor cats, guaranteed before long you're going to have outdoor cats because the indoor cats are looking out the window and then the outdoor cats going do 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 do. Hey, there's an indoor cat. Then the next thing you know, they're like checking each other out, figuring out who's who and what's what because they got glass in the way. They can't positively, like interact too terribly much and cause major harm to one another. But they could truly be doing that whole, mime thing where they're kind of like, checking each other out on the glass. And it gets to be, well, before you know it, you have one outside cat, then you have two outside cats, then you have like a bunch of outside cats, and they're all checking each other out because they know there's inside cats. And after hanging out for a while as outdoor cats, they can go, you know what? We'll just have to wait here for a little while. And before long, we will have somebody feeding us inside because all we have to do is just wait for the dinner bell to be rung. And sound guy, no. Sound guy, no. Okay, the that I'm talking about cats, not dogs. I'm talking about cats. Okay, right, cats, not dogs. Okay, I've never heard a cat make a noise like. Okay, well, anyway, so indoor cats, outdoor cats, they all basically interact, and before you know it, you have more outdoor cats than you ever could shake a stick at because they're now interacting with your indoor cats. So before you know it, you got indoor, outdoor cats that are kind of doing a whole like cat get together. All right, so looking at things as it is, there is a really kind of cool story I found out about, and obviously the guy passed like 14 years ago, but he was somebody that had some very amazing notoriety. He is literally one of those guys that probably should have been playing the lottery and really would have just done amazingly. But in the instance of what he had in experience, you could say pretty much he really beat the odds. So the guy's name is Sutomo, sorry, Sutomu Yamaguchi. Sutomu Yamaguchi. And he was born 16 March 1916 and died 4 January 2010. And he was a Japanese marine engineer who survived both the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Wow. So essentially what happened was I'm trying to accept more work here from doing Uber and whatnot. So excuse me 1 second here. Uh, so essentially what happened was is he's a resident of Nagasaki. So Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima on business for his employer Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Reader like the guys who were building like the Zero plane, but Mitsubishi Heavy Industries was also building way other stuff too for the war effort. So when the city was bombed at 8:15 a.m. on 6 August 1945, he'd returned to Nagasaki the following day, and despite his wounds, returned to work on 9 August, the day of the second atomic bombing. That morning, while being told by his supervisor that he was crazy after describing how one bomb had destroyed the city, the Nagasaki bomb detonated. In 1957, he's recognized as the Hibakusha, or explosion affected person of the Nagasaki bombing. He was not officially recognized as a survivor of Hiroshima by the Japanese government until 24 March 2009. And ironically enough, he died of stomach cancer on 4 January 2010 at the age of 93. This guy really, truly beat so many odds. I cannot begin to tell you how crazy it was for him to survive Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Sound guy, was that appropriate? Sound guy, no, that was just okay. Nuclear weapons are not like Viagra, sound guy. Okay, they're not. They're just not. Okay, you are not that. Okay, he's now trying to be snotty about it. He's trying to say he's so well endowed that he would burst through the studio window. Sound guy, no, you're no, 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 no. Really, really. Okay. Well, anyway, so this guy basically survived both nuclear bombs and lived to a ripe old age. Amazingly enough, that's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. But wow. Anyway, give me a second here. Just looking at something real fast, keeping myself honest. Okay. I'm good. Actually, hang on a second here. Keep myself really, really honest. Uh, got it. Got it. Okay. So the problem is I'm running two phones side by side, and one will either get the dispatch or the other one will get the dispatch for Uber. So I just really have to accept at the time which I get it, or it can get hit off somebody else. Anyway, um, yeah, Pedro Fever, absolutely. That guy really should have bought a lotto ticket. You want to talk about like luck of the Irish, except being Japanese. Wow, amazing story. Um, Hang on one second here. I don't know if you guys heard about. There's a little bit of a catch up here, but I don't know if you heard about like the whole descriptive terms that they're trying to say. And this is actually a really fast moving story here. Obviously, that Joe Kaka was merely suffering from a cold, and then they were like, "Oh no, it was jet lag because he was doing all these things overseas, trying to do the G7 and everything." But the problem is during the G7, he was not any better trying to present himself publicly. As a matter of fact, he actually looked pretty not great in the process of trying to, well, this, that, the other thing, falling on his face during public statements. And of course, really strange behavior. Also, I don't have the news story in front of me, but it's actually come out that he's had a neurologist visit the White House no less than 8 times. Karine Jean-Pierre is like, oh, no, we're not going to talk about that. It's nothing major. What's the guy's name? We heard he's like Dr. Harris. Can you confirm that? I'm not going to. He has privacy concerns. Security stuff. We're not going to talk about these things. So Karine Jean-Pierre is trying to play damage control while everybody can just go, one of these things might be kind of like the other. One of these things kind of might be. Yeah. Karine. No, you're just. Yeah, she just really. Yeah, she just fell on her face. Man, that was not even pretty to watch that news gathering and her trying to, no, that's not right. I'm not going to give you the information. And the guy's like really pressing her. She's like, no, you can be as mad as you want to. You can phrase it any way you want to. I'm not going to tell you anything that you really want to know. It was very farcical, very fake, and kind of almost theatrical in the way that she was like, no, I'm not going to tell you these things. Give me 1 second. I got to take a juice. On a related note, I've heard they're now starting to refer to her by just general appearance and the fact that she's such a spewer of, shall we say, the appropriate venue there. And they're starting to refer to her as Brown Toilet Brush. I've been looking for a great way to, refer to her, but Brown Toilet Brush with that hairdo and the general makeup of all the stuff that she spews. Yeah. Appropriately, absolutely, perfectly on point. She's definitely stirring the stuff. Yeah. She's got that appellation, and I might continue to use it simply because it just seems to be. Thanks, sound guy. It just seems to be very appropriate when she tries to, bring these things out here, broach the subject, and just, yeah. It just. You did not do so well. So sorry. You just kind of just didn't play the scene, and you really just. Yeah, that just didn't work. So I can definitely say most empathetically, she probably might still be referred to as Brown Toilet Brush for the time in memoriam. Oh, you wanted a ding for that little edit there. Okay. Yeah, because looking at things as it is in the news, she's just kind of getting it more than a little bit like yeah. Oh, okay, that was on point. I'll give you that one in the sound guy. That was good. Scrolly. I'm not even gonna say the name of what this person has put out there. This is my glorious offering to society. Watch it. What we have here is an offering by another Hollywood. You gotta try to be really charitable sometimes with how I phrase and state these guys and their intentions, their motivations, their personalities, and their simple existence of the screaming look at me's. But yeah, Kevin Costner, you, sir, have attained dick brain status. Ugh, this happy Hollywood, see you in Toledo. Ugh. So he put out a Western, right? Now, the other thing too is also I think he pretty much self-funded this thing with some other investors, but he put like 30 million of his own coin into this turkey. Needless to say, he put it out there and it has gotten yeah, it's gotten more than a little bit of You're in the jailhouse now. I don't know about jailhouse snoo snoo, but that's not snoo snoo sound, God. That's jailhouse wee. Anywho, so what's going on is Costner put out this movie, another Western, and he thought that everybody was just going to be like, oh, hang on, golf clap. Oh, you're so brave. You're so courageous. You've put out another Hollywood movie about a Western. Oh, dude, you're not that guy. And that's putting it charitably. You are really not that guy, okay? When you go out there and you state yourself as being that guy, no, you just kind of get just yeah, because you're not seen as all that, dude. I'm sorry. Shut up. You're not seen as all that, okay? So anyway, the other thing too is also his statement on his stance on the Second Amendment really, and I gotta say, most clearly here, really chapped my my hind parts, shall we say. So this Hollywood butt bung of the highest order stated clearly, I own guns, and for myself, I hope there are stricter gun laws. I'm all for it. And if I lose fans, oh well. Dude, you didn't just lose fans. You pretty much put out a turkey out here. Obviously, where it's a Western, you're utilizing firearms because, yeah, that's what they pretty much had to do to, protect themselves from animals and other people. And you're now stating that everybody else shouldn't have that right because, well, you, sir, are a FUD. FUDD as in Elmer. You are a FUD. And if you look up those people in the parlance therein of gun owners, those people who in the industry and in the gun groups refer to people as FUDs, or those guys that go, oh, I have shotguns. I'm perfectly fine with just having shotguns. All other guns should be illegal. A double barrel shotgun or a single barrel shotgun or a pump shotgun is all you need because you have to have something to hunt with. And you can use it for self-defense, but those pistols and assault weapons should not be allowed in modern society. Those large magazines should not be allowed in modern society. Dark brain, FUD. If you look at the Second Amendment, it doesn't say, okay, only if you have this size weapon, only if you have this capacity on the weapon, only if it uses this style of mechanization, only if it's just this big, not that big, not too small, doesn't really work only with one hand. That is not written into the Second Amendment. It says most clearly the right for self-defense and you to have that thing on your person or to be armed similarly as the government shall not be infringed. Now, in my heart of hearts, if I had a time machine, I'd go back to the founding fathers and I'd say, guys, put 2 more lines in there and put them like sanctified, like Moses tablet style stuff, sanctified in any mechanization, any means, any rapidity, or any form therein shall be owned also by the population, not just the militia. They're going to have to be way more generic in their statements of saying specificity and not just going, well, everybody will assume that we are understood a few hundred years from now. You're going to have to write it for stupid people. Scrolly. This one is beyond measure cracking me up. Now, if you look at the history of things as it is, the election that took place of Walter Mondale, and I'm using the classic Rush line there, Walter Mondale and Ronald Reagan, it was literally referred to as a landslide. It was a 49 state victory with Mondale only carrying one state. I think it was Minnesota. So there's now from truthpress.com leaked internal polling in a memo showing that Joe Kaka is barreling towards a landslide defeat. Now, here's the other thing, too. Everybody's going, well, he could just drop out. He's got such pressure on him now to drop out. He has the delegates delegated to him. That's why they call them delegates. He is delegated to have all the delegates. JFK Jr. doesn't have a freaking prayer. All the other guys don't have a prayer. He's the guy running until such time that he goes, in my infinite wisdom, I've decided to resign my position for further running of the president office of the president of the United States. Signed, Joe Kaka. Until he gives up those delegates in some form of what they refer to now, and they're stating this very clearly, and they're floating this one out there really, really stridently, a mini convention. Until such time as Joe Biden gives up his delegates, he's the guy. And the presumptive nominee on the Republican side, and I would say it's not even presumptive at this point, it is Donald Trump. So they can throw everything at the guy, hoping something sticks, throwing all the crap at the fan, hoping something sticks on the fan blades. Trump is running. And it can be stated very clearly that until such time as Joe Kaka, read Joe Biden, backs out of his position of being the presumptive nominee for the Democrat Party, he's running. Until such time as he releases his delegates, he's the guy. He is the guy. And it's like capital T, capital G. He is the guy. Okay? That's all there is to it. He is the guy. No other way to say it except for what it is. He is the guy. Scroll. Let's go into the article here. Unfortunately for Truth Press, they really tend to just have way too much, and they really truly don't get into the thing until you really get into it. But supposedly this is coming from Puck with a P, Puck News. Noted that Open Labs does not make much use, does not make use of public research public, and the results are, quote, trusted in Democrat circles and typically passed around to small groups of clients and strategists. So one of the strategists leaked the memo to Puck News reporter Peter Hamby. The poll, which conducted 72 hours after the Thursday debate and was emailed to party strategists on Sunday, found that a staggering 40% of respondents who voted for President Kaka in 2020 now believe he should suspend his campaign. This represents a major shift from the previous survey in May, which found roughly a quarter of Biden 2020 voters said the same. So Kaka took a particularly large hit among swing voters, as this demographic believes that Kaka should exit the race by a 2-1 margin. Now, that would probably be your Latinos. That would probably be your blacks. That would probably be those guys who are squishy to start with. And I really, truly love when this thing, when it's like they do anything and they're like, well, this is the segmented group. This is the segmented group. But of this 40% and this 40%, that 10% of independents in the middle, they're going to shift this thing one way or the other hugely. Dude, do the freaking math, okay? If they shift 5% one way or the other, and the other 5% goes, we're not voting, it's a done deal. 40% versus 45%, that is an election result. Now, if you look at the last election that took place, Kaka beat Trump by 5%. Now, if you look at the voting public that actually voted for Kaka, 92% of the blacks who responded as Democrat voters said they voted for Kaka. He's lost 40% of that group. So he's down to 52% of, the black contingent of the Democrat Party saying, we're going to vote for Kaka. And I think that number is starting to erode day by day. So, let's see. Scrolly. Top Biden pollster Jeff Garin over the weekend found that Biden was trailing Trump by 1 percentage point. I love when they get really squishy like this. Well, it wasn't that big a deal. It's just 1 point. Quote, the debate had no effect on the vote choice, Garin said. The election is extremely close and competitive before the debate. It is still extremely close and competitive today. Dude, I don't know what you're smoking. I don't know what you're drinking, but it's got to be really, really good stuff here, okay? There's no other way to say it except for what it is. But, dude, you are definitely you're definitely lighting it up, and you're definitely having some fun there, okay? Because when it comes right down to it, people are looking at Joe Kaka and they're saying, dude, what is going on with that head of his?
But I pooped from there.
All right, well, anyway, looking at that 1 percentage point, I'm gonna say that is pure and simple. Okay, thanks, sound guy. It is pure and simple. Bull meow. Yeah, it's full on bull meow. Just yeah. All right. Next news story, please. Scrolly. Oh, I came up with a cute one. I was just being snarky here, but that whole thing about like Biden, where he was going on about his, how many strokes and handicap he has versus like, Trump's game. And I said, this just came to me. It's like, I wonder how many strokes it took to sound like Biden does. He doesn't even play golf. Oh, man. The other one I heard too was also like immediately, not too terribly long, read like probably very next day of the debate, there was an ad being dropped by Trump. And all the ad is you see a split screen and you see Joe Kaka, brain farting and trying to get out something. Gears clashing, not doing a good job of trying to, deposit that knowledge of which he had, stuck in his repository. And you just see Trump just kind of like, dude, what are you doing? I'm trying to like unpack what you got going on here. Trying to decode this, and I'm not getting it. What in the world are you saying? And it's literally the entire commercial is Joe clashing gears and Trump kind of like, I have not a clue what this dude's trying to say. And that's it. That was like the whole debate. Literally, that was like the whole debate. Joe's crunching gears and everybody else is like, what are you doing, dude? That was like the whole thing. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys saw the video or not, but oh man, it was beyond creepy. I've seen it on Facebook. I'm sure it's probably other places as well. But there's one scene where Joe Kaka walks up to a couple of African American gentlemen and he's shaking the hand of one of the guys, right? So as he's shaking the guy's hand, he reaches out and he's like running his hand down the guy's arm. And you see the guy whose hand he's shaking is kind of like, where to go with this one? And you just see the aide behind him just turn around like, that's literally all she did, was she just kind of went, uh-oh. That was the whole scene. I cannot do it justice. It was beyond not right. Let's just say that. It was beyond not right. Getting into another one here. Scrolly. This one, AmericanJournal.com. Let's see. Insider claims there's something even scarier about Joe Kaka. So aside from the claims about cognitive decline, rumors about his behavior behind closed doors. So reports have long surfaced about his temper, cursing. Biden quickly loses it when aides bring up Donald Trump or anything he doesn't like. It's been said he's particularly angry when his staffers try to backtrack comments that he's made. But it seems the problem is much worse than originally thought. And it seems that there's gatekeepers preventing Biden from even knowing what's going on. So the information that really, truly he needs to have to say, I'm in, I'm out, how boned am I? They're not even telling him these things. So a lot of the stuff that potentially he should know, he's not being told. Coming here from the Daily Wire, senior Biden administration official reportedly said the week that the president is, quote, not a pleasant person to be around, end quote, at work, and that people are genuinely terrified of him. Quote, he doesn't take advice from anyone other than a few top aides. It's become a perfect storm because he just gets more and more isolated with their efforts to control it, the person added. The report said that those who are shielding Biden from having a tough conversation need to occur to include First Lady Jill Biden and his sister, Valerie Biden Owens. Now, why these people are integrally advising the most important seated person's location in the world, and they're not even like elected officials, I have no clue. But let's just say they're propping somebody up who might not be all there and obviously shielding them from the stuff that they think would piss them off. And that's just being charitable. So not a pleasant people. People are scared hitless of good old Uncle Joe. So supposedly the guy's really just a piss ant, not fun to be around. Now there's a picture that shows Nancy Nan Drunkalosi walking out of a store. I think it was in Boston or something, and she's being escorted because supposedly it's rough pavement. You know, she's wearing heels. They didn't want her to fall. But the rumor's been going around for the longest time that she's doing like things in public hammered. And they're like really, really trying to protect her here. So much so that actually Facebook blocked the picture and put one of these false information, fact check things on there because they are so beholden to the fact that this really makes Nancy Pelosi look really, really bad. Just give me 1 second here. And also it's come out, like her public statements sometimes are not all there either. I mean, she's really, really not great. But I posted the picture up, and the reason why I posted it up is because it shows that she's not looking normal. And even the other picture where she's walking around, it's like 4 pictures. There's one outside, which is outside of a place called Stackpole Moor Tryon, or Tryon. And she's walking out, and every single picture here, she has really strange facial features. And so Facebook was so beholden to it that they actually blocked the picture. And then they were like, well, we can't allow you to put the Twitter link up. And they basically popped up their false information. Same information was checked another post by independent fact checkers. And, so I put in there my own bit. Then everyone will see why we're protecting certain people will lie our asses off, denying everything. So I started posting up these other pictures of Nancy, and she looks positively ripped. It's not even funny that a lot of the pictures of her are not even like the kind of where you get somebody in like half a word where they're kind of like, the ones where somebody's like just talking, and you get like a freeze frame of them like kind of like, they're like one eye is closed or they're like halfway in a blink, and they almost look they're being mean. So it gives intimation on something that's not even really intended. You just caught them in between, like, basic facial movements where people blink when they're talking anyway. It's just, it's a natural reaction, but you get like in a weird, mouth area and a weird blink area, and you put the two together in like a freeze, and it looks like they're really pissed off or really something else. But every single one of these pictures, she looks hammered. And then, recent public statements, well, it's either like her dentures are falling out or she's sloshed. She just does not sound good in recent public episodes of her trying to state intention on, the situation with, obviously presidential stuff or, position type things or policy or, just she's not sounding sober. And I don't care what any of these screaming Mimeites on the, the left side of the aisle is saying, she don't sound right, man. She really don't. So anyway, way, shape, and form with that one. She's basically sounding hammered. And there's now been also somebody also positing the notion of maybe she's not all there mentally. I don't know. Scrolly. This one I find to be absolutely damning. And this one's coming in from Breitbart.com. I cannot do this justice. So, coming in from Breitbart.com, Hollywood mogul Ari Emanuel, Biden debate has donors moving all their money to Congress and the Senate. So, they're getting out of the presidential race because they know, oh, my stars and garters, things are not looking good here. So, let's put our money in where it's actually going to do something positive, or potentially we could be doing something where we're going to be actually interacting and putting our money where our votes will probably count, or our money as votes, as it were. And it's looking not good for the presidential fundraising right now because these guys are saying, oh wow, put the money in something local. Ari Emanuel, who is the CEO of the talent agency Endeavor, also declared Joe Kaka to be unfit to run the country, comparing the president to an elderly driver behind the wheel of a car. We're in F. Chuck City, he said at a recent event in Aspen. Oh, wow. I didn't read that part. Just give me 1 second here. We are in F. Chuck City, and he didn't say F. Chuck. According to a report from the Hollywood Reporter. So Emanuel repeatedly blamed Biden's advisors for covering up the president's precipitous cognitive decline and blasted Biden for reneging on campaign promises to serve only a single term. Yeah, he did say that, didn't he? That's kind of interesting, too. I'm going to run again because I have to stop Donald Trump from getting back in office. Whatever that means. Quote, he said he was going to run for one term, and he's doing it to restore democracy. Then he runs for a second term. That's the first bit of malarkey, as he would say. He and his cohorts have told us that he's been healthy for over a year, Emanuel added. Wow. As far as Democratic donors go, Emanuel painted a dire picture. Quote, you'll see in the next couple of weeks that the money comes in. I've talked to a bunch of big donors, and they're moving all their money to Congress and Senate. It's a legal issue now, he reported. There's maybe some wiggle room, but I haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but we're in F. Chuck City. Despite mounting pressure from the media, donors, and even leaders of his own party, Joe Kaka has shown no intentions he will step aside. In fact, he appears to be doubling down on his campaign, setting up a potential civil war within the Democrat Party ahead of the upcoming convention in Chicago. Speaking of Chicago, I just heard this just the other day, listening into James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, and he was saying that in Chicago just the other day, there was 114 or 15 shootings and 18 people died. Okay, that's just the best place in the world to, maybe Trump saying that, but it's like the best place in the world to have your convention. Yipes. 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 Complete yipes. Know about this one, but supposedly U.S. employers added a strong 206 jobs in June as a sign of continued economic strength. No. I'm going to say most clearly, we're not strong, we're not recovering, and we're not based in growth industry. We're merely picking up the staff fired during COVID, or those people saying, okay, I actually found a job that's kind of worth it because doing the gig economy might not be paying quite enough. But they're still probably working 2 jobs, folks. They're not doing well. I forgot to about this or not, but supposedly NASCAR, and this is an audio. NASCAR. When you think NASCAR, you think, carbureted V8 screaming by at like 9,000 RPM for 500 miles or 200 miles or whatever it is. So what did they say this time? NASCAR and NBC, what are they doing? They're doing this. That was a NASCAR electric vehicle prototype. And they are saying, hey, we now can do NASCAR with electric vehicles. Yeah. Folks, no. NASCAR started by people running bootleg Liskey around in V8 or hopped up sedans and then said, hey, my car's better than your car. Oh, yeah? Let's race each other. And then the next thing you know, it became a stock car race. Now, where they are now in terms of what they actually put on the track versus a stock car, these two shall never meet in the twain. Trust me on that one. What they put on the track nowadays is a monomaniacal exercise of where do we put the stickers compared to the other guys. They are the same car, the same chassis, the same body, literally the same body. They put a template over the vehicle and it has to fit exactly. Then they have a little roller that has to go underneath the front of the car. Then they have to do those other little things, and the car has to be just so. Same engines, same powertrain, same all this other stuff that really don't do anything different other than simply run around as a group of 40 or 50 cars, all driving roughly the same car. And it really only comes down to then is driver ability and the guys going, hey, look out for around the corner there. There's something bad happening. Or, stay low over here, go up high over there. Watch out for the accident happening, in other turns. That's literally all NASCAR is now, is it's kind of really just an industry for these guys just to go in circles. There's no excitement there, okay? There is no more Richard Petty. There is no more Cale Yarborough. There is no more Al Unser. All those guys who really, truly were racing, that is gone. That industry that they built up, made amazing Hemi engines and the big blocks and all the rest of that stuff. And then now where they're at ain't a whole hell of a lot different. And now they're going, hey, let's run electric cars. No, don't run electric. All the electric NASCAR would be is basically an RC car with somebody sitting in it. All right? Not impressed. Let's see. Scrolly. Where are we at now? This one coming in from AmericanJournalDaily.com. And this is very, very interesting. It's a link over from Fox News. Some members of the White House press corps have had regular exposure to President Kakar, now admitting they are, quote unquote, turned off from exposing his mental decline before last week's debate, in part because of the attention has gotten from, quote, right-wing media. Okay, your job is not to censor. It is not to modify reality, and it's most assuredly not to hide something and give cover and aid to your guy. Because I can tell you for a fact, if Trump was having issues, you wouldn't be going, well, let's not talk about this publicly. Let's just, let the old guy serve out his term and be nice to him and all the rest of this happy horse stuff, because that would never happen when somebody's being followed by an R after their name versus a D after their name. The Democrat Party is giving aid and comfort to somebody who's not all there. We've seen it blatantly, obviously, after the first, call it what you will, presidential debate. But you guys giving aid and cover to an ailing person who supposedly is in the highest position in the land, you have abdicated your authority to say, we are the proprietors of all news. You are part of the problem. Let's see. Scrolly. Quote, Biden's age was also a right-wing talking point for years. No, it really wasn't. We've had old people running before. That's not the issue. It was always a case of his health. Something the White House was quick to point out to reporters, which may have inadvertently turned off any serious investigation, CNN reported. So into the article, it says, it's astonishing to think that journalists who pride themselves on being watchdogs of democracy have been swayed by the narratives pushed by the White House. In fact, did not appear aligned with the conservative media is not a valid reason to ignore the truth. Kind of what I just said. What a vindication for conservative media saw the truth and called it out. However, the media then turns around and blames the truth tellers for their failures. What a prideful abdication of their responsibilities. I got another news story about this, but it's bloody hilarious when these guys get caught with their pee and stuck in the dog behind the house. You made me do it by having a dog. You screwed the pooch, dude. Okay, let's be honest here. You did these things. Scrolly. This is kind of starting to happen worldwide, and it's getting really, really, really interesting. So supposedly the Conservative Party in Great Britain faced an electoral storm that left it shipwrecked, and it's a big warning to its counterpart in the United States. No, not really. It is also Brexit, and they keep going on and on about, well, a big deal it is that the Labour Party is winning in the UK and this and the other thing. I think what it is the fact that people in the UK are not like us here in the United States. Okay, that's just there's nuts and bolts, completely different items. These guys are still content to be under the crown. We were the guys that basically told the crown to piss off. Cannot do it justice. But things are changing up. The French are really having problems right there with, their latest election. The Brits are really having problems right there with their latest election. So potentially a lot of these people in these countries are getting sick of being treated like, banks. I think that's the biggest problem. They're tired of being taxed to death. I cannot do this justice. So look at these people's faces after the Biden interview. Oh, wow. I cannot do this justice. So supposedly Joe Kaka sat down with George stuffing envelopes for an exclusive ABC News interview that was aimed at quelling the deafening concerns about the president's mental health. It did no such thing. I cannot do it justice the way these people look at this picture. It's absolutely hilarious. So the faces of the panel, the way in the interview say it all. ABC's News, John Carl, rightly noted the Democrats who watched this disaster are even more worried since Joe doesn't understand it. He's losing the election. Yeah, I cannot do this justice, folks. Quote, it made one House Democrat on President Biden's interview tonight. Quote, it made me sad, completely out of touch with reality and insulated from the truth. Quote, I'll be breaking my silence soon, end quote. So the ABC interview is supposed to shut down talk of the Biden's decline. Immediately says he doesn't remember if he watched the debate. He's cooked. Damn. Stephanopoulos, Mr. President, I've never seen a president of 36% approval get reelected. Biden, well, I don't believe that's my approval rating. That's not what our polls show. Stephanopoulos, do you really believe you're not behind right now? Joe Kaka, all the pollsters I talk to tell me it's a toss-up. Okay. It's getting good, folks. Biden smiles when asked about Senator Warren's reported efforts to get him to drop out of the race. Quote, Mark is a good man. He also tried to run for nomination, too. Warner didn't run for office. Another guy, and this is all like Twitter posts. Biden is making stuff up now. Joe Biden's ABC interview is already going south, and the first minute appears visibly short of breath while complaining about exhaustion during the debate. Stephanopoulos, let's start with the debate. You and your team have said you had a bad night, but your friend... Hang on a sec. I got to click over to the link here. I hate when it does this. It's like, you got that continued thing because you run out of space for all the additional letters. But you said you're bad at night, but your friend Nancy Drunkalosi actually framed the question, I think it's in the mind of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or a sign of more serious condition? Oh, it's a bad episode, breath. Now, I indicated any serious condition. I was exhausted, breath. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night. Dude. I've never had a cold and sounded like he did during that, debate. Biden explains to Stephanopoulos is sick the night of the debate. Test for viruses, had a bad cold. Biden milling around the Waffle House in close quarters with a crowd of people after the debate. They can't even keep the straight answer in this thing and keep the timeline correct. These guys keep busting themselves. I cannot do it justice. Scrolly. Supposedly, I you know what? I can honestly say I don't think I've ever actually seen anything that this chick has acted in, and nor would I give two cares about the fact that had she acted in anything that I'd seen. This person is an actor. They literally pretend to be somebody for a job. That literally is their vocation. They pretend to be somebody. So, actress Minnie Driver says after living in the United States for 27 years and moving back to England, quote, uh, I couldn't live in a Republican state if Donald Trump was reelected. Um, you know what? Don't come back. You're really not that impressive in the first place. You lived here for 27 years. You moved back to the UK. Obviously, you made your money here. You profited by living in the place that you said supposedly sucks so mightily that you went back to the place that you said, I can't live here for 27 years. You know what that says to me? That says pretty much your career is bottomed out and you got nothing better to do here. So you're going back to spend your millions back at home. Bye. Yeah, I'm going to have to really quote that one on that one. Bye. Don't let the door hitch on your ass, and please don't come back. Stay in England. Scroll. I got a couple of more than a few memes going on here. This one I think is very, very interesting. You know, they're going on about this bit about, you know, the neurologist that's appeared over the White House 8 times. I'm sorry. Usually, you don't have a neurologist going to the White House to interview, talk to, or have any interaction therein with the U.S. president. You don't hear stuff like that. Usually, if it's a specialist, they see them at Walter Reed, and you really don't hear about it. You know, the president is going to get, you know, extended exams at Walter Reed to verify that, you know, he's okay in certain aspects of his health. That's all you normally hear. You don't hear, well, you know, the neurologist came over to make sure that he wasn't like completely, you know, just jittered out and just, you know, bent, broken, screwed, or just not right. You normally don't hear these kind of things, okay? That's stuff that you normally don't hear, that they are just yeah, I mean, normally they don't basically have the guy coming in here and going, oh, let me take a hard look at you. Oh, well, gee, Mr. President, looks like
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
yeah, you normally don't see that kind of thanks, sound guy. Yeah, you normally don't see that kind of you don't see that kind of bull meow or bull splat. Yeah. Anyway, so this now come out from Truth Press. Joe Kaka's doctor speaks out as Parkinson's rumors swirl. I thought Parkinson's was more like muscle twitch and okay, they're saying Parkinson's. I'm thinking Alzheimer's. Okay, it is not Parkinson's, really. Just from the casual observation, I can say it is not Parkinson's. I thought that was more like muscle twitch and, you know, neurological things where things are just not, the wiring's all sketched up. Like Michael J. Fox. That's what I'm thinking of, is like Parkinson's. Like, you know, muscle control, fine muscle control is going bye-bye. With Joe Kaka, President Joe Kaka, I'm thinking Alzheimer's, okay? I am not thinking Parkinson's. So, coming into the article, President Joe Kaka's doctor has clarified the circumstances of neurological visits to the White House as media speculation swirls over the state of the president's neurological health. So, visitor logs, which are public, mind you, visitor logs reportedly show that Dr. Kevin Kennard, an expert in Parkinson's disease, has visited the White House 8 times over the past 8 months, meeting with Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, on at least one occasion. If he's been there 8 times over 8 months, he didn't meet with him once, okay? If he's been there 8 times over 8 months, he met with him 8 times. Questions about the nature of the Kennard's visits were at the forefront of the heated White House news conference on Monday when CBS News correspondent Ed O'Keefe, that was so funny, with Karine Jean-Pierre, she's going, Ed, I'm not going to tell you these things, Ed. You can keep asking me, Ed. It wasn't nice, Ed. Stop it, Ed. That's mean, Ed. Ed. That was literally all they were doing. Sparta White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, also known as Brown Toilet Brush, and demanded further details. O'Connor said the memo released on Monday night that Kennard had been a neurological consultant in the White House since 2012 and sees a large number of patients in the White House complex, not just the president. Yeah, but it's not made public as like, yeah, he's been there 8 times visiting just to check up on the president. Oof. This is not normal stuff, folks. Truly. Kennard's only interactions with Biden have been to conduct detailed neurological exams. Okay, that right there, that right there, that is enough to say something is just a little bit odd. Just a little bit odd. Yeah, man, we're talking things are just a little bit splat. Ow! Yeah, just a little splat. Ow. During the president's 3 annual physicals, in which no major issues have been detected, according to O'Connor's memo. Or, he could say, I've seen no major issues changing. So, also, it could be a case of he's got it and there's been no changes. So, slow, steady decline could also be a state of being. So, Biden's mental fitness has been the subject of wide speculation since his troubling performance in last month's debate with former President Donald Trump, where the incumbent president at times appeared to lose train of thought and have difficulty speaking clearly. Sounds like Alzheimer's. Where they get feisty because their memories are slipping. Where they get feisty because, oh yeah, they're trying to defend the fact that they're still the same vibrant person they always were. Yeah. Quote, I want to share with you background on why Dr. Kevin Kennard visited the White House. O'Connor wrote a memo. Dr. Kennard has been a neurological consultant to the White House medical unit since 2012. He is chosen for his breadth of experience and his expertise across the specialty of neurology. Can't talk today. Dr. Kennard is chosen for his responsibility, not only because he's a movement disorder specialist. That's Parkinson's. But he's also a highly trained and highly regarded neurologist here at Walter Reed and across the military health system with a very wide expertise, which makes him flexible to see a variety of patients and problems. Wait a minute. Whoa. You're talking about this guy who is to caretake the most important person currently in the White House. You're not talking about everybody else going, wow, I have great expertise to deal with all these guys and all these patients and everything else. If you're attached to the White House, you're working the flipping White House, okay? That's what you do. Oh, I got a kitty. I was wondering what was bumping into me. Anyway, yeah, it's the way that they're positing the notion here that's like, well, we see no major changes. Dude, if it's something that you've already diagnosed, it is a state of decline. There is no changes other than it's basically, the boat ramp is going, or it's just going off the water. There is no diagnosis that can change there because you've already diagnosed. You can't go, well, he's got Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, but, it's only slightly more Alzheimer's than Parkinson's. Well, the Parkinson's is now beating the Alzheimer's, and no, you got those things going on already. And they are both, if you look at the bar graph on these things, they are a stated sense of decline. Now, is it literally a precipitous drop? Or is it a slow, gradual decline? Well, if you're talking precipitous decline, in the last year, we've seen major, and I do mean major changes in the behavioral things going on between the State of the Union address to the first presidential debate. Literally, night and day. Anybody can see the difference between those two operative forms therein of our current resident of the 1600 Pennsylvania address, the White House. You can see a huge difference. And even previous to the State of the Union, where he was like, walking around like a rat on crack, they juiced him up for that thing. And I think that was a Hail Mary last best effort because that car is out of gas, man. And no matter how much more they're putting on the turbocharger, that thing is leaking oil everywhere and it's about to blow. As good as you had is as good as you got. you ain't getting any better, man. That sucker is about a dead duck. So, calling it for what it is, I got to say very clearly, Joe Kaka is circling the drain, and we're watching the decline right in front of our eyes. And oh yeah, the media that's feeling so chapped right now because oh yeah, never really told them the whole story. Ugh. Man, supposedly Burger Boy, also known as Chuck U. Schumer, it's coming in from Yahoo.com. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but supposedly Schumer is now pushing a bill to strip Donald Trump of the court-granted immunity. Dude, nice freaking try. You are trying to change around the Constitution of the United States to remove presidential immunity, which you also said, well, he didn't have that in the first place. And I really want to curse here. He was elected as president. He had that immunity. Even the Supreme Court said he had that immunity. So that was written in stone, dude. Look at things as it is. Where do we find ourselves right here? I guess we got ourselves looking at, oh yeah, timeline. Yes, timeline. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. Thank you so much for hanging with me. And you got many other things to do. And I will give you a gold star for attendance if you've hung out or if you're catching this in review. Good stuff like that there. I appreciate your kind attention. I'll catch you guys next week. And eat good, keep tendering as always. You know you love it. I will see you then. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will see you next week. Catch you guys later. Good stuff like that there. See you guys and